Metro, no.
This is like, okay, all the real estate is so expensive now.
Yeah.
It's like twice what it was just
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
It doubled.
Yeah.
So now, if you buy a car, though, that is humongous, it's more like owning real estate again. Because I'm shopping for cars based on square footage.
Oh.
What do you think?
That's a new way to shop. I haven't heard of that kind of a shopping scenario since before I was born.
There's tax write-offs, like if you get over a 6,000-pound vehicle or whatever, it can be like a commercial vehicle.
Yeah, but almost every truck is a commercial vehicle then.
Yeah, but I mean, if I get something that's, what would you say, 218 inches long?
Yeah, 220 inches long.
Then maybe it'll qualify as real estate.
It's 19 feet.
And then that'll be the next thing in another couple of years here.
You can sell your real estate?
I'll sell this Lincoln Town car as a duplex.
A tiny house.
What do you think? Is this a brilliant idea?
I think it's genius.
Okay.
Yeah, but then all you have to do is rent the lot like a trailer park.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Wherever you park it, you're paying for the lot like a trailer park.
Yeah, sure. Like 2-bedroom car or whatever.
Yeah.
2-bedroom
tiny home. Yeah. Imperial.
Yeah, little family home in the trunk and and the rest, with a guest bedroom in the back seat.
Kitchen in the front.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be perfect. It's heated, air conditioned.
Oh, I mean, climate control is a must.
Yeah.
Especially in your tiny home.
Yeah, you roll down both windows or all 4 windows. You get a crosswind going.
Get a caddy corner window opening.
You get one of those New Yorkers with the rear window that rolled down. From the 50s.
If you're smart, you get a Lincoln Continental that has the window that rolls down and suicide doors on the rear, so you can have air directing in and out by opening and closing doors and windows.
Yeah, I think. I totally agree. I think this should be the land yacht episode. And just that they're big and they're comfortable and they're somewhat ostentatious.
And there's so much room for dead bodies in the trunk.
Yeah. I've had my favorites, but like when the word land yacht comes to mind, I think of the year 1978 first. Like a big kind of malaise era of vehicle and these gigantic jagged-edged front fenders and opera windows. And like they used to call them personal luxury coupes,
right?
When there were 2 doors and they were 17 feet long,
right?
Which is pretty awesome. But Greg, I was sending you some yacht rock the other day.
Yeah.
Just some Christopher Cross, some Michael McDonald, a little bit of sailing.
Yeah.
Take me away.
Oh, Michael McDonald is always your yacht rock music because he has that unique voice for it, if you will.
And I was okay. I guess this is what got me on this topic a while ago because I
was dying to know.
I was
How did you get to this subject?
I don't know, man, because I guess they're the opposite of what I would naturally love, and I guess it's just different for different sake, It's like
going from the Porsche to a land yacht,
yeah, and hopefully I get some Porsche friends back on the podcast, but the little sporty cars and stuff like that. Like I'm literally wearing Chuck Taylor shoes because they keep my feet together better. And when I was working at old hot rod or vintage European car shops, I couldn't use the pedals individually
because the shoe wear was not appropriate for
right. And they would get a little, if you wore work boots at that kind of a shop, then you would hold down a few pedals at the same time. And it's like, okay, after a while, my bigger frame getting stuck in little Triumphs and Spitfires, it's like I just want a boat, man.
I want to be able to glide in and out.
Yeah, and also like at the hot rod shop, like I would force it was great when I got a hold of the Bluetooth before other guys. I could put on my music and sometimes, man, you just like, I just want to crank the Christopher Cross up to 11 and have it blaring, but there's
a time and a place for Christopher Cross. If you ask
it's
me.
not a hot rod shop. That's
not
for
when
sure.
you're trying to work diligently, very hard on some sheet metal.
Yeah, because it's like, hand me a drink with an umbrella in it.
I'm supposed to be on the beach.
Take me away. and yeah, I know I wish it wasn't copyright. We could play this under the the podcast today, but it
should be playing in the background right now.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. Yeah, if you have the chance, if you're listening, to play a little bit of yacht rock while we're talking, it might set the mood right. Light some candles, get into the bubble bath, and let's talk about big American cars.
Or just fill your trunk with water and sit in the back of it and listen.
But it's funny because like the younger kids in the shop had no idea about any of this music or whatever, and
the younger kids, because you're so old.
Oh, well, some of them are like 22. Okay?
I got it. I'm just teasing. You're just very versed on a lot of things that people your age are not. That's all.
Okay, sure.
That's all. You have experience. It's a good thing.
But like, just I sometimes you research things because I think they're funny. Like I memorized all the words to the Eastbound and Down song because I thought it was funny to know those, just so I could be whistling it or whatever and singing it as people passed by.
Right.
I think it's funny as a joke.
It is comically fun to do, yes.
So like
knowing the words of obscure songs like that people like know the chorus and stuff, and they know where the song comes from because it's from a movie or something, right? But then for you to know every lick of the lyrics.
Yeah, and but it's like cathartic sometimes just to go into someplace else that you're not familiar with, and you can attach or you can, I guess, project your own emotions onto that feeling or that time or that place, even though you've never experienced it. So you have no bad connotations to it,
right?
Like that, and so growing up with punk rock and very fast music that's only 2 minutes long of a song, and let's get on with our lives, get to go on the next thing fast, and it's violent, and I hate everything, and you don't understand me, Mom. And then
all I wanted was a Pepsi. And
then we had this great stereo in the shop, and it was and it just filled the whole place. But they're playing this horrible music all the time. This kid would come in and he got the Bluetooth on first because you wouldn't think about it, and fill the shop with this depressingly, mind-numbingly horrible rap pop music or whatever. And I'm like going, oh, it made me want to vomit, dude. I bought real expensive noise-canceling headphones to get rid of it, and then I just found out, if I just do that first as like my checklist in the morning, then I can get a hold of the Bluetooth, and then he can't stop it until he gets back from lunch earlier or whatever.
Right.
And then I'm just cranking my I played some loud yacht rock music. You go to title and then you just select that category basically, and a lot of ELO and a lot of Michael McDonald and a lot of Christopher Cross, and it just comes up and
Electric Light Orchestra ELO.
Yeah, and you and he kind of recognized some of that because he's at least seen Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever that they place under, and but it's like, man, it made me so happy, and I got more productivity done and stuff like that. Maybe just because I wasn't hating the wall of sound coming at me,
right?
Now I was being overwhelmed by cascading waves of
driving in a 20-foot car.
Well,
yeah, the highway,
maybe that's the other thing too. To go along with the analogy is to say, going away from sporty, tight cars that have really tight tolerances, and you can feel it when something's wrong because it's like a little bit of unnatural thing. It's like, oh, that camber's not right. Oh, we got to put 2 more pounds of pressure in this tire because everything's tight and
right.
And so when things are off, then you have to bring them back in. And you're constantly thinking about the car and the tune and the everything else as you're going down the road.
And maintaining the mechanical sympathy of it.
Versus
just a land yacht that it says in the description of it, well, the emphasis on ride control at the expense of handling.
At the expense of handling. It's so great.
That's how it states it in the definition of a land yacht. That's the
so
last
Yeah.
part of the sentence, at the expense of handling. So if something is a muck, you're like, I didn't know until I was in the guardrail.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I haven't been around boats much. Mostly been in like a inflatable inner tubes, I guess. That's my whole seafaring, but
Ski-Doo rafts.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any boating experience. I'm sure you have more than me.
I learned to drive in a 77 Malibu station wagon.
Okay.
And then transitioned to a 77 El Camino, which is exactly the same, just 2 doors instead of 4.
Right.
So I think I learned how to drive in a mini yacht.
A mini yacht.
If you will, because that's a large car. I think it's only 16 or 17 feet long versus 19 or 20 feet. But still, I mean, land yacht is a land yacht. So the land yacht is based on its overall size dimensions.
Okay.
It usually starts at around 218 to 215 inches in length.
Okay.
Which is right at the minimum of 18 feet.
Because it's like, you could fit any car under 12 feet, it's going to be a boat, and then you get to 17, then it's a yacht. I mean, like, what is it like? You can't fit a boat on a ship, or you can fit a boat on a ship, but you can't put a ship on a boat.
Right?
Is the thing?
I think that's the point. I mean, because you could put a Mini Cooper in the back of a large vehicle.
Oh man,
you're getting into trucks and stuff at that point. Look, you're getting into the F450s, F550s, right? Which is a land yacht.
To this day of being able to have a spare car instead of a spare tire in a car or truck.
Agreed. Well, so if my list of land yachts is extensive, right?
I joke with my buddy James that I'm going to put his Fiat 500 in the back of my truck.
Yeah.
And like every time we go hang out at the restaurant or movies or whatever I go, man, I got to bring a tape measure. I bet you I could fit it. I bet you I could fit it in the back of this pickup truck.
You got to do it one day, though.
I'm going. It'd be cooler than having like an ATV hanging out the back, because everybody expects that,
right?
Like your pickup truck, but having a whole Fiat 500
in the back,
on the back, heck yeah, man.
Or Mini Cooper, anything like that. Yeah,
and I would just leave it. I wouldn't even carry a spare tire anymore
because you have a spare vehicle.
Yeah.
So you can't just do station wagons. I think that's a giveaway.
I don't know if the station wagon that would be a yacht,
But they're large, man. They're incredibly long. So my pick for one of the cooler, older land yachts, because land yachts are defined from 60 to the mid 80s. Some early 90s cars are still considered land yachts, but I think they're getting into Suburbans and stuff like that at that point. But as far as a car, you have your standard 64 Cadillac, you have your 66 Continentals, right? Those are giant vehicles, right? But the weird ones that I liked were like the 2-door Furies.
Yes.
Plymouth Fury 3, perhaps. But there was a 69 Dodge Polara. 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 And that thing is just...
Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah. It has a slim roof line on it and stuff like that, but it's still...
Yeah, it has some like Charger kind of look, some Barracuda kind of look.
The hood is still 7 foot by 8 foot. The fenders are 6 feet long. The door is 6 foot long. The quarter is 7 foot long. I mean, that is a freight train full of metal there.
I know. And another one of those things, 6.2 liters and only 230 horsepower.
Right. But if you got the 440, it had 375 horsepower.
Okay. That's decent.
Yeah.
I could see that going.
But you had to option for that and stuff like that. And I bet you there isn't one single one left on the planet anywhere. So, but there's other ones from that era, like a 73 Impala.
Yeah, because that's like Cadillac is on the same platform.
That thing is 2 inches longer than that 69 Dodge Polara.
That's pretty huge.
And it's only a 2-door still.
I love it.
So those are what I consider land yachts. If it's a 2-door and it's in the top 10 list of the biggest cars.
But you can't, I mean, I understand. But like when I'm thinking yachting, like I'm going to wear that the sailor's cap, or whatever. Not the sailor's cap, but the captain's cap.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
The white.
I'll
cap
have
with
the
small
Commodore's
black.
hat because I have a fleet of yachts.
Ooh, sir.
So do you do the convertible Eldorado then?
You could be playing Captain and Tennille while you wear your captain hat.
I'd rather be Captain Nemo.
Okay. Captain Nemo. 20,000 Leagues Under
the Sea.
I adore that movie. Have you seen it lately?
No, I haven't. Never watched the movie. I read the book. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, a reader. Oh, sophisticate. I didn't understand.
I'm lying. It was an audiobook.
Still, I love that movie so much. That
I haven't. No, I don't know that movie. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. On the Nautilus, all that stuff, everything. I mean, and the piracy and all that. It's a great movie. It's
he
like
gets
probably
all
one
his
of the
gold
best.
from the sunken ships of the past.
Yeah, and super technology and everything that didn't exist back then when it was written. And it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and those and the Disneyland ride back in, when they started the submarine ride, it was based on Captain Nemo.
Oh, was it?
And it had the Nemo ship based down, and they had these Nautilus shaped boats and everything on
I haven't been
the submarines.
So.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's a pretty amazing, probably my favorite ride too. I don't know. Maybe I love. Okay. Side note, a tangent. I love all those movies where you're in some underwater sunken base. What's the
Abyss?
Yeah, The Abyss was amazing when I was a kid.
That's
really?
like being in space.
Yeah.
One wrong move, you're dead forever.
I know, and it's so fun. There's a constant tension, even when they're just like pouring coffee and stuff like that. There's more tension than when they're in the capsule in the space or whatever. And there's some. Yeah, I just watched The Meg too, and I still loved every minute of it, unironically.
Oh my gosh.
There's that Kristen. What's her name from Twilight? The angry emo lady who's anyway, she had a movie called Underwater, and there's some monster in the muck, and of course their underwater base breaks down and can't support life, and they have to get into their underwater pressure suits and walk 2 miles underwater to the other one, and then all their lights go out and there's some monster there. It's so cool. I love those movies so much.
Predictably cool.
Yeah, and that's why and yachting is a big thing too. But I do have another thing. I've said this, to gigantic eye rolls from the boss at Pinky's and other hot rod shops. I go,
this is gonna be great.
I go, we have a slow day. Nothing coming in. May have access to fabricators here. What's wrong with us building our own amphibious vehicle?
Oh gosh, I just rolled my eyes.
I would adore having an amphibious vehicle.
So get the amphibicar.
Amphicar.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Same thing.
With it has a little British engine in it, like a Triumph engine or a Triumph Stag engine, I think, in it.
I think there's 60 or 70 of them left, so you have a good chance.
There is. Speaking of Disney tie-in, there is a shopping mall, Disney shopping mall out in Florida next to Disney World that has a lake and all the shopping center stuff with all their
and
Disney
they have cars you can rent and go play in?
And they have amphicars that they maintain, and they roll into the lake there and give you tours of the lake in and out over and over again. It's the coolest thing.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you have all these shell companies and all these obscure things to be able to fence the gold bars.
Shell Company would be a good name for the
garage band.
Amphibious car docking. Welcome to Shell Company.
I mean, I think you should be able to afford one now that we have all the gold and the shell companies and stuff like that. You could probably use one of those gold bars to get yourself an amphibious car or build one.
Oh, from the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I'm trying to tie us together. I'm sorry you don't remember our episodes.
It's all fiction. It doesn't matter.
I don't remember anything.
But I'm just saying, if you want to get a land yacht and you want to go, you want to have the feeling of the ocean as you're driving down the highway.
Just floating down the highway.
The next logical step is to start getting out a caulking gun and sealing up the doors and everything else so that you can drive this Lincoln Town Car into the ocean.
Goodness sakes, that'd be delicious.
Wouldn't it be?
Just to be able to go straight to the loading dock and just keep driving on in.
It wouldn't be a land yacht. It would be a yacht.
It'd be a dual yacht. Dual purpose yacht.
A yacht.
I like it.
I don't know. I adore the idea of amphibious vehicles so much.
I'm
But
sorry.
they always look stupid.
Yeah, they never look good.
No.
There's that Jeep one. There's several of them out there that...
The only one that I thought looked okay,
Yeah.
passable, there was a pickup truck that this guy had an idea back in the early 2000s, and it was just an F-150 called the Sea Wolf. Great name. And it was it had like an outboard, almost like it had like jet boat motors out underneath the back of it.
So it's water propelled?
Yeah.
Jet propelled, whatever.
And you had an F-150 front of it, but it did have a hole underneath it that he had, fiberglassed underneath. And it looked pretty complete, like it was a production vehicle. And the cab of the truck had a pass through to the bed. So it was like a unibody truck all of a sudden.
Okay.
And sealed. And then he would, Seawolf amphibious car. But you could walk from the cab to the bed of the pickup truck and use that as your deck, basically.
Right.
Which I thought was, okay, that's perfect. There are like newer ones that are based for like the military, like the Humdinger, and like because it's kind of half Hummer, half dinghy, and it has that one right there that has that gray one has more of looks more like a boat with wheels that fold down and stuff. But they say it can go like 65 miles an hour on land.
Oh, goodness! What about these Jeep looking things?
Yeah, those look a little awkward, don't they? Like
they're Pro Drives.
Pro Drive.
Yeah.
Pro Drive, amphibious Jeep.
It looks like a CJ5-ish kind of vehicle.
Yeah. And it's okay. I mean, I used to...
But the Humdinger...
Yeah, where it looks kind of like it
looks like
a Hummer.
Yeah.
But...
And the wheels just tuck up and the bottom of the vehicle is the whole of it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to go way off-road and then scrape it on rocks and stuff.
You can't take it rock bouncing.
This other little tiny one called the Dutton Duck.
Yeah.
It's a Suzuki Samurai.
It looks
basically, like it. That he put this fiberglass shell underneath, this British guy. And he's living like on the Isle of Man or whatever. And he's...
and he does it back and forth?
Going back and forth from land to sea in between. So they do make some sense.
The original ducks?
That one...
Aren't those ducker...
Now we're getting a little darker because this one's a Nazi-built Schwimmenwagen.
Okay, we can't talk
Volkswagen
about that.
Vehicle.
First choice for Russian trucks.
We made amphibious vehicles. A GMC truck. They just...
What about the
Sherpas?
The Sherps.
Yeah. That's cool too.
They just float on those giant tires and they're just waterproof.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with those.
Me too.
That's made in Ukraine,
Those are cool.
And if we keep spending bajillions of dollars every week there, I would hope that gets
brought to us,
and that every American, your tax dollars, like a little kickback would be a Sherp 4x4.
You get a Sherp. You get a Sherp. Oprah style.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get a Sherp. Look underneath your seats. Everybody has keys for Sherps. They're outside.
If they don't win the war against our proxy war against Russia fast, then we should just at least get some Sherps.
Please.
I know that there's...
Whenever you build your factories again.
I know they're probably making them... there's guys who are importing them from Ukraine, and you can buy them.
Yeah.
You can't really drive them on the street, but they're pretty cool.
So that's your land yacht is something that you could drive from land to water?
A literal amphibious vehicle would be a land/yacht.
There it is.
Did I ruin that? Okay.
No, there it is. That's the title, land/yacht.
I mean, I think that when I think of land yacht, though, like just the phrase, I don't think of Chevrolets and Buicks, I think of they have to have something like Imperial LeBaron. I mean, those two phrases has to be some kind of a Cadillac or Chrysler or the upper scale
Lincolns.
American cars, Lincolns.
Yeah.
Where
if it's just a Chevy Caprice, it's just the size that it's not necessarily a yacht. It's a land boat,
right?
Because it's not nice.
But this vehicle would have a tacky, kind of a style to it, where they're overstuffed plush velour and purpley and maroony kind of interiors.
Dozens of cigarette ashtrays, and lighters, and also like the plushness,
right? That it has
lots of fake wood and fake leather, and
the advertisements. You're holding champagne glasses, lady in the fur coat, cigarette with an extender on it, and the guy has maybe not a full top hat, but definitely, suit and tails, and that's your normal Friday night out. Yeah. You've been through cotillion. You've had the training, and you're gonna go, and you don't want to be bothered by bumps in the road.
So you're gonna sacrifice handling.
Yeah. Sacrifice handling. You're gonna sacrifice the hoi polloi as we run over them in our wide white wall tires.
So it has to have the title like Coupe de Ville, right?
Yeah.
Imperial Crown.
Yeah. It has to have some kind of luxury. It's like a alien from another planet is trying to make a vehicle that would pass off as a luxurious thing or whatever.
Right.
So,
the Buick Electra is quite the...
has ostentation without...
but the name...
I don't think it's sophisticated, any of these things.
But the Electra name kind of kills the illustriousness.
Because none of these cars lasted, They don't...
Oh, here you go.
The Dodge Royal Monaco.
Come on.
1977 Dodge Royal Monaco.
That just screams land yacht in the title.
Yeah, I bet you nobody in Monaco has ever seen or heard of this thing.
Not at all, no.
Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah.
225 inches.
Just an
long.
F1 race at Monaco this last weekend, and it was like, it's the most expensive place in the world to live. The prince and princess of Monaco, come out and give the champagne and the trophy to the winner of the Formula One race. It's dense, and I don't know if you could. It's too expensive to live there. Probably, you get Ubered around in a Bugatti there, I imagine.
So then I went and looked up what's the biggest vehicles ever made, right? And that's where you get into the crazy stuff.
And not doing like SUVs, not doing commercial buses, not doing limousines.
It does include like Suburbans. It includes F-350s. But the cars that they include in that, like the Rolls-Royce Phantom, that is 239 inches long. That is a big car.
Yeah, and it's nuts, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if that's a...
It's hard to imagine that fits into the land yacht titles, but it is actually by the...
How many inches long, you said?
239.
Hey, Siri, what's 239 inches in feet?
Just under 20 feet.
Just under? No, it's not. No, you're way off.
Okay. I'm bad with numbers, remember?
It's 19.92 feet. You're way bad with numbers, dude.
It says it right there.
And it says so on the...
It says it right there.
Reading it.
As you're asking, Siri. But then the Fleetwood 60 Special Brom. I mean, they only had to do so much to make that a limo, dude.
The Broham.
It was already a large vehicle.
Yeah, because I mean that... If you're looking at these like big Cadillacs from like late 70s, they have less and less horsepower.
Right.
You're not doing anything in a hurry.
Right.
You're not turning fast. You're not doing anything fast. And I wonder if it would be, I mean, you'd be ridden you grew up in those, I guess, but,
right.
But I don't think my grandpa had, on my dad's side had Cadillac Eldorados. He loved the 85 Eldorado for some reason. I know. Yeah. You're like, nodding. Oh, nice. Okay. Eldorado. Okay, great. Yeah. And then I say 1985. And you're like, oh.
They're front wheel drive.
Yeah.
And they have
And they're restricted like crazy.
yeah, like 118 horsepower.
Yeah.
With that V8.
Right. And I think it might have been, I don't know if it was a 350 or anything. I think it might have been, and it certainly wasn't the big like 429. I think it might have been like a 305 V8. I think that was also choked like
with
crazy.
With electronic quadrijet on it.
Yeah, and choked like crazy with every other kind of emissions problem.
Smog pumps.
Yeah, that's why all these things don't exist anymore, because they're after the emissions era. They're too big. They're just kind of outdated as they came off the production.
And they try to put air pumps on them to try and reduce the emissions.
Little tiny Toyotas are coming out and everything and starting to pick up steam right at the same moment. And Volkswagen Beetles are thriving right then. So it's like, yeah, it feels different. It feels out of date.
Okay, so then last episode we talked about getaway cars and Jason Statham's transporter vehicles.
Yeah.
Right, and one of them was a BMW. I was mistaken. And the other one was an Audi. But like what I'm seeing right here is the Audi A8L.
Yeah.
Coming in at 17.25 feet. That is quite the large car for fitting into the land yacht, because it is a nice car. It's upper end.
And I've driven those, and they're not there's no sensation of speed in that car.
Because you're just floating. You're going 80 and you feel like you're going 40.
You're not really floating, though. It's just, it soaks up the bumps. There's some technology. That's an all aluminum body. So it's not like it's a massively heavy vehicle.
Okay.
For its size.
So what about the Bentley Moose?
And you can get a 12-cylinder in that thing.
Oh my God.
And a W12, which is two V6s on the same crank, aluminum engine. And it's like, there's so much torque, and it's just that nice push of a wave behind you moving, so it doesn't like snap your neck back when you throw.
So it brings the whole boat to shore.
Yeah, it doesn't move. It pulls the earth towards it, but it's all-wheel drive, so it's not spinning tires, and it just moves.
Would that be the same thing as this Bentley then?
Yeah, the Mulsanne.
Yeah, because it's the same actual size dimension as that.
Yeah, but those things are Bentleys. Like you're starting to think of. I don't think those are land yachts. I think that's kind of. I don't think a Bentley's a land yacht.
But it's based on size, is what I was saying. That's why I'm saying it's a land yacht, because based on size.
I think Bentleys. I think of British gangsters. I guess.
All right. Well, then let's go with the 1970s Charger, 1975 Dodge Charger.
Yeah,
which is bigger than the Bentley.
But that's buying real estate. That's not buying a boat.
It's a two-door.
Yeah, I mean excursions and Suburbans. I mean you have to. Maybe that's that of today, but it's a. But if you go, there are some sophisticated cars in there. There we are. Chrysler. That's my car. It just pulled up on
1960. What is this?
Is it 65?
61.
61. Okay, that's the Chrysler Newport. If you go to New Yorker, which is another step up,
right?
That one is designed by 65 New Yorker. I think is amazing. That's a 440 wedge engine. It's a one of those effortless speed overpressurized power steering. So you have no. You can do it with one hand, so you don't have to take your gloves off.
You could do it with your pinky nail.
Yeah, and it has a translucent steering wheel too, so you can see through it. It's because
it's so big and in the way.
Well, it's like but it's little. But the little things, little trim and extra things like the headlights. There are 4 headlights in that on the 65 Chrysler New Yorker.
And it has covers on them.
And it has glass covers, and there's little pinstriping across the headlight lenses and stuff. And I'm like, and then like the taillights have these cool shape to it, and it's slightly different than the Newport, and this big slab-sided long sides on each sides, and the door handles are kind of hidden up top
with reverse curves
inside the trim. And that's a car built by or designed by Elwood Ingle. Imagine that name, huh? You're a 60s car designer named Elwood Ingle.
Okay.
How perfect is that?
Elwood.
He designed also my favorite personal luxury coupes, the Ford, the 61 to 63 Thunderbird.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was probably one of the most pretty.
Here you go.
luxury cars I've ever seen. Yeah, same. Yeah, you came up with a.
It's the
Greg
Blues
just rolled up another
Blues Brothers car.
Dodge Royal Monaco. This is
Yeah.
the Blues Brothers car, the cop car.
Yeah.
With the giant speaker on top.
Yeah, they used it a lot in 70s TV shows, cop cars, and
Yeah.
movies, cop cars.
Yeah, for sure. You're pushing stuff out of the way. That doesn't qualify as a Lambo.
As anything, right?
That one, no. It's a Lamborghini LM002 just popped up. That's not a land yacht. There you go. These are, okay, Adam Impulse Viking. What a great name. This is another like Russian-made amphibious vehicle.
17-foot, 2.5-ton truck.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily a truck. It's got the giant Siberian
And
tires
this falls
on
back
it.
into the Sherp category of those things that are made for Siberia.
Well, it's amphibious.
And so that you're driving over snow and tundra, and then you fall into a bog that you didn't see, before.
And you can water jet yourself out of it.
Yeah,
because it's
you can
amphibious,
climb out.
And it has water jet on the back of it. It takes you 6 miles an hour, but
In the water.
yeah,
That's a physics thing more than it's pushing out that water, and it's increasing the drag in front of you as you go through the water. That was also a depressing thing I found out about amphibious vehicles, is that they, no matter how much power you had in those amphibious vehicles, they still only went 6 miles an hour in water.
No matter what,
Unless they could get up out of the water, like on
drag
top.
resistance and stuff.
Yeah, like I don't know what they call that. Somebody who knows more about boats is yelling at their iPod, going, but when it comes up on top of its wake or something like that, the boat gets out mostly out of the water as it's traveling.
Hydrofoiling, something like that.
Hydroplaning foiling.
Hydroflame foil.
Hydroflame foil.
Yeah.
When it's hydroflame foiling, then it can get speed and really pick up some and then surf on top of the water and not drag underneath. But if you're a box shape, pushing the water, then it just exponentially builds in front of you, and you will never ever, no matter how much horsepower you add on top of it. You're back on the Polaris. Yeah. Because they had like these cars that from the 70s, they had some style, but they had they threw every bit of style at it, into one car.
As far as what was updated style at that time, yeah.
Well, that also, but that's it didn't match the fender, this strake across the rear fenders,
The quarter isn't matching the front.
Didn't match the front, and the rears doesn't look anything like the front. This has round headlights and square
tail lights.
Square, rectangular, long tail lights, but. I don't know.
I think any Grand Fury is just going to be categorized as a land yacht.
Yeah.
I really don't understand how, excuse me, Cadillac went to front wheel drive with a 19 foot car, 18 and a half feet for this Cadillac Eldorado
because
front
it
wheel
leaves
drive.
more space in the interior. Because have you been in some of these yachts?
Flat full floor pan across the front.
It's a lower floor, and you've been in some of these yachts.
You can literally sit 6 people in it comfortably because somebody doesn't have their
Not
feet
really.
on the truck.
Sometimes your head is still scraping on these cars. Even if you get a '78 Lincoln Town car. I mean,
oh yeah, they didn't have tall roofs. Yeah,
no, and my head would hit the roof or whatever. It's so you could get one that's
you're
been
6'3" also,
I'm 6'20". No, I'm not like Mark, but I'm 6'1". But the
you are not 6'1".
What do you mean?
I'm 6'1", and you're taller than me.
Oh, okay.
You hit your head on the roof, and I don't, and I'm 6'1".
Okay,
so you got to be at least 6'3".
But
when they take your measurement,
yeah, let's measure.
I'm gonna have to remeasure myself too.
But anyway,
yeah. Sorry.
My grandpa had the front drive Eldorados. He loved the Tornado and stuff like that. And I guess he thought that was such an innovation. He had a Tornado for a bit.
Yeah.
And Dad always
they're great cars.
Wistfully talks about the Tornado. I say Tornado, and then Dad looks away, off into the clouds and go, Tornado, a little bit. But it's a good looking car. But it was so funny that he had this 85 Cadillac Eldorado. And then he got another one, brown on brown. And
the 80s Browns were the worst.
Oh, yeah. And it had the half vinyl roof.
Yeah.
But it had enough room, but it was like, the back seat was a little tight, but it was more of a relief getting out of my aunt's Camaro and then into that. It was more leg room as a kid, and all the switches were cool and everything like that, and the wood panel covers would pop open. And then he bought another one, and at the same time, he had 385 Cadillac Eldorados.
Were they all brown?
2 of them were brown on brown on brown on brown on brown, and one was cream, vanilla, white on brown. But those are pretty. But those didn't have the vinyl roof, the half roof. Yeah, there you go, that.
Yeah.
But expect more brown.
And I don't think any of them came without the vinyl. And
then I remember we went to go see him. Flew in and
there it is.
As on family vacation, go see him, and that's it. That's it for sure. And he and the whole family, like, Grandpa's like going, "Oh, we'll just drive my Cadillacs when we go to dinner," and that. And Dad thought it was kind of funny, I guess.
3 Eldorados rolling
and I don't
around.
know, he like cashed in some other credits, and we rented a Cadillac also to go there. So it was so funny. It was just
this parade of Eldorados.
Yeah, it felt like kind of Beverly Hillbillies, like we had struck gold or something like that.
And everybody went
and it was like, of course it was like 2010 or something like that, 2005, I think.
But you're still living your 1985 lottery life.
I think it was like, it was before I graduated high school, but it's like, I think it might have been like 97 or something like that. We're out there, and I mean, we showed up in this maroon Cadillac that we rented, a 4-door DeVille, and then the rest of the family, family reunion time, we all go out to the seafood restaurant and in 4 Cadillacs in a row, and it was so fun. I don't know why. It was just kind of a funny idea that he had 3 Eldorados in one. 1997 DeVille.
That'd be great.
Pretty fun. Yeah, it was a kick. We'll never forget that. But
the still front wheel drive. Yeah,
right. Still front drive. This maroon with the vinyl top kind of a thing.
Those are like basically Chevrolets with Cadillac badges on them.
Yeah, it's like a Caprice almost, or maybe not. I don't know if it's front drive. What would it be? What would the Chevrolet equivalent be?
Luminas and Impalas.
Yeah, but that's a big one. This is like big Buick Park Avenue kind of a.
Well, that's what it would be then, I guess. The Roadmaster, maybe.
Yeah.
No, because the Roadmaster was a Caprice.
Was rear drive Caprice, and that one's desirable now.
Delta 88s and
Delta 88 stuff. Yeah, Oldsmobile.
LaSalle's, LeSabres. Sorry, LeSabres.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
Sword, a saber, but a sophisticated sword
with electric windows.
If you're gonna stab me, at least do it with some dignity.
Come on,
and use the little saber, and not just some knife.
So, have you seen the Greenwood races in England where they're racing the Thunderbolts and the big cars like that? Against the Mini Coopers. And
like they have Mustangs and Minis competitions and stuff.
Barracudas
but they'll do
Galaxies.
The Galaxies, the big block cars versus Mini Coopers.
Right.
It's so cool. Yeah. It's like the best racing besides
that's
GP bikes or something.
Yeah, land yacht racing with Mini Coopers. If you crash the Mini Cooper, throw it in the back of the Galaxy and take it back to the pit road.
And that's I adore that. And like the Mini drivers, if it's all 100% Minis, that's really cool.
It's
you
fun.
Get to see them all scuffle and go and bounce around. But then you throw in a car that weighs 4 times as much,
right?
4 times the displacement, and it can wail past 10 Minis on the straightaway, and then it brakes and wiggles down to slowing down for the
to
turn.
Get to the curve.
As these little Minis just go.
As the 6 Minis pass them again, right? And then what are those?
They have no inertia or whatever, and they just fly
Corona.
Around.
What are those? What is
my Corona?
No, the Fords that they race. Oh man, I just had the name and I lost it. But the little Fords that are the same size.
Cortina.
Cortinas.
Lotus Cortina.
Yeah,
Fords.
yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah, that's cool. That's something that we didn't get out here. That's a Cosworth engine. It's a Lotus Cosworth engine that was based on their
So
Formula
then
cars.
there's the scenario where the Lotus, the Mini Cooper, and like the Barracuda and the Galaxy,
Yeah.
or a Mustang, and they're all like just fighting for
Trans Am style muscle cars.
yes, fighting for the top five positions.
Yeah, Goodwood Festival of Speed, or the they have two different big festivals. There's like the
Pre-40s or something like that.
well, that's like one's like show cars and Goodwood Hill Climb, I think is
They have that one too, yeah.
And like a lot of Porsche will release the brand new models there, and they'll have like a Concord Elegance and all this stuff, and the most expensive cars in the world are there, including the Mercedes 722 Sterling Moss car that I'm going to talk about in one episode. But then the Festival of Speed is all races, vintage motor racing, where it's the most expensive cars in the world,
And they're out there slinging them around the racetracks.
Yeah.
Which is delicious.
Yeah, and those Shelby Cobras, real ones, real GTOs.
And what about
Ferrari GTOs?
And they have the older class too, where it's like pre-World War II or after World War I, something like that, where they have wire wheels and no roofs, and and
Pre-war.
They have handles outside the vehicles to drive them, whatever those vehicles are.
Yeah,
those are great races to watch.
Outside the car, and
they do it rain or shine.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's raining; they're still going to race those cars on those tracks, and it doesn't matter if they go into the tire wall or not.
Okay,
which is awesome.
Is this the point where I want to admit my future plans of
fencing building all the gold?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I've told this to other guys, but I'm like going. I think my dream car right now is I want to build a boat tail 32 Ford.
Interesting.
Building it as an open wheel race car, but have it a little bit more elbow room than like a Bugatti Type 35 or something like that. But kind of in that same vein of that, but make the hood longer.
Okay.
Have a boat tail rear, so it comes to a point,
right,
and maybe tapers down a little bit, so that it would be the aerodynamics of the 1930s.
Got it.
And you have it real shiny and everything.
That'd be delicious.
But there's a car, probably my favorite of all time, that's on my screensaver. This car, it's called a Napier Railton.
Oh yeah,
because the Napier is
he was a race car builder, wasn't he?
Made like airplane engines basically, and this thing has like a 28 liter engine in it.
Well, that was back when they would take the airplane engines and make race cars out of them. Yeah. Yes, okay.
And maybe I need to do an episode just on that car because it's a one-of-one Brooklyn speed record.
Well, and we could do a whole episode on the weird or obscure or interesting airplane engine to race cars.
Yeah, or the uninteresting small displacement disposable cars that everybody hates. No, I like your idea better.
Because I could certainly go to town on a Napier engine, something else besides your Napier.
Napier, am I right? That's a weird phrase. That's a little bit of a Napier vibe.
You're a pervert. I wasn't going that way.
You have a Napier wit. Doesn't it sounds gross though? Yeah, like you wouldn't want to have.
That sounds gross. I'm confused.
Napier, Railton. I don't know. There's innuendo in there. Write down your own innuendo and text it to us.
That's our new garage band, Napier Railton.
Yeah, there's a Australian company that makes V16 LS engines. By putting them, basically welding the two together
kind of like
lengthways.
Like the Veyron?
Well, but they're LSs. That's two V8 LSs, and they're joined on like...
Mated together?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now who's speaking about Napier Railtons, huh?
Fuck, dude.
Let's mate something together.
So they're front to tail together?
Yeah.
And it's one crank?
And I would put that into my boat tail 32 Ford with an extended nose on it to fit it.
That's the reason for the longer hood. Got it.
It would be all American built, American engine, American bodied race car.
It's by the Australian company that built the motor.
Okay, never mind. I can't do it then.
You just said this Australian company builds.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you said it's all American.
There's also LSV-12s too somewhere, I think. I have to Google that one. But having a gigantic displacement, you know,
something along
16-liter thing, I mean, it's still half the displacement of this Napier Railton car.
Why don't we just get an airplane engine then?
Okay. Because, I don't know. How do you get an airplane engine? eBay, I guess?
Auction houses?
But I don't want to get like a radial engine that Nut Bar did in Colorado.
No, but this 37 Chevy or whatever.
Colorado Auto Parts guy.
Yeah.
And he built this. Yeah.
The radial engine.
I've seen that at Good Guys show, that radial engine in that Chevrolet truck.
Yeah.
And it was a 36 Chevrolet truck
Something
or
like that.
And it's so difficult to start that thing. And
you can't see around it to drive it,
he
right?
barely drives it. Yeah. I mean, you can drive it.
But I wasn't thinking of a radial engine. I was thinking like a Rolls Royce or something like that.
A Merlin.
Merlin.
Yeah. I mean.
Good God.
Yeah.
Good God.
There you go.
Fuel rails 1 inch thick, 1 inch in diameter.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going 8 miles to the...
Get a trailer just to carry the fuel tank. Let's do it.
Have a secondary vehicle.
I mean, okay, yeah, and I think that would be really cool, having that kind of a individual race car.
What are those? What is
and maybe polish it up so it's shiny, you know.
What are those belly
tankers?
Yeah, that would be fun to build too.
Yeah. Okay, with a flathead Ford in it, or would you go more modern engine?
Something from the 40s, probably 40s, 50s era. You know, I just came home from World War II. I'm going to build me a belly bomber.
Okay. And okay, and I'll race you in my 32 Ford 16-cylinder.
That'd be fun, man. That'd be so much fun.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to try and find me a Mustang engine, something like that.
Because this is. I mean, it's just kind of like you start with land yachts and you just kind of think of what could be, what's the longest thing I can get?
Without getting an excursion or a suburban or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's what she said.
You flippin' pervert. Sorry for cursing. Jeez Louise.
But it's like, what's the longest car I can get? And you can start looking at these, Bonneville salt flat cars that are technically still cars,
but they're
like Challenger 2 and Challenger
shape
3.
Yeah, they look
Mickey
like
Thompson's land speed cars.
They look
Craig
like space shuttles.
Yeah, the Spirit of America. Which are used to be airplanes, and then they
just put
take
axles
the wings
and tires
off
on.
and we put weld some wheels on. It's like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, but
I think we're getting away from production though.
From production car? Oh, yeah, for sure. That's really far away. A 4-engined Challenger, Challenger Speed. I think that's probably my favorite land speed car ever. Is Mickey Thompson's Challenger, that 4-engined car. That's just, it's so cool.
Too bad he was murdered. He had a lot
in
to
his
give.
own driveway by some psychopath.
He had a lot to give.
I know. That Mickey Thompson story is amazing. Just through and through, the ultimate hot rodder. I think.
Yeah.
I think even Hot Rod Magazine just kind of said, "This is the ultimate hot rodder," and all beat all.
Enough said.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you have to agree with it if you read his life story of what he built and then off-road racing and everything else.
Not just one genre.
No,
he was in everything automotive.
Yeah, and. Except for amphibious vehicles.
Darn him.
Which we got to get back to.
If he wouldn't have been murdered, we could have gotten him.
Yeah, we would have. Totally.
Yeah.
He would have had that record. He would have gotten him up to 9 miles an hour in the water.
He was a race car guy.
Defying physics. Yeah. So what's your favorite land yacht then? I mean, like if you were actually on the...
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there's some Chrysler Imperials. We're looking through like a list of stuff. But like when the Chrysler Imperials started getting their headlights outside of their own body, you know... It was amazing, you know, their own kind of buckets that were on top of the bumpers. I loved that. It was ostentatious and not kind of, it wasn't like congruent, you know, from nose to tail. a little bit awkward, some of the shapes, but
It would be impossible for me to just go pick one. I'd have to like see something that I was in the mood for at the moment, I guess is how I would end up with the one that I picked. Because like I said, the Polaras are the big cars that were,
because you can buy like a really great Buick Park Avenue right now, for under $4,000, and it would last you 300,000 miles, and it would be cushy, soft, air conditioned, really inexpensive to maintain, to keep it on the road.
Yeah,
because
millions of parts,
everywhere. Or if you get tired of that, then you take that high displacement supercharged 3.8 liter, and you put it into your Fiero, and you swap it out
because it was the same.
and then
one of Sugar's favorite motors,
freaking fast Fiero.
I don't know, dude. Honestly, I probably would have to pick something that isn't that common, that would be hard to repair and stuff because it was so rare. It would be that 69 Polara. It would be
something that you could fly flags off of the front fenders with.
Well, yeah, if you like a presidential car. Yes, something like that.
That I would have to drive ahead of you in a car to clear the path.
In a procession sign. I mean,
you pull up to the theater, and I get out and I say, "You will bow before the Commandante." Swine.
It's Commodore, but Commandante's fine.
Yeah. Eyes down. Eyes down.
Do not look. Do not look.
The trumpeters. As you walk out.
Yeah, but I would be a Commodore because I would have to pick several of them.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. But most likely they'd be those Imperials and the Furies, and I'm a Chevy guy all the way. But when you want me to pick a land yacht, I'm not going to pick a Cadillac. I'm not going to pick the Caprice and stuff like that because they are land yachts, but they're not the weird obscure ones. The ones that are
fair.
They're I would like to have the less common.
Yeah, gun to head, I would probably pick a 65 Eldorado Cadillac, but also I would be questioning, going like, "You're threatening to kill me over this? You want me to purchase a Cadillac, a 65 Cadillac Eldorado? This is a weird reason to threaten someone's life, isn't it?"
I mean, a 56 Cadillac Eldorado.
I'm like going, don't you like want money or anything here? I mean, I don't understand. You want me to buy a land yacht? That's a weird. Yeah. You're a weird person. Okay.
Yeah, well,
what brought you to this life? But okay.
Nice tangent.
But yeah, a 65 Cadillac is kind of hot roddy and still kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the shapes are beautiful on that car, and the dash has some style to it, and it's pretty all the way around. But that I always think that land yacht has to be more sad. has to be past the emissions regulations, has to be squeezed tighter a little bit, has to be like the heart of 1978 kind of a thing, where it's less than 200 horsepower, it's more than 400 cubic inches, and it's slow as heck, and it doesn't.
Then it's a 73
no
Fury 3
illusions
then.
To speed, but all about. I don't want to hurt myself, and I want to spread out,
At one time, I knew a guy that had a 73 Plymouth Fury 3 two-door, 440 big block.
Can you bring up a picture of that?
That would have to be the one then. So if you want that gas guzzling, non-functioning, it's just for floating down.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it's just so regulated and so choked out, that those cars of that era, that it just kind of sucked, man. I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't a 73 because it had the hideaway headlights.
Oh, no, that would be earlier than
maybe
that.
It was a 70.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, like that thing had a real wide, that's probably the same platform and basic body, just a different front end.
Right. Yep. That's
Yeah, there
it.
you are. Okay.
That's it.
70. But yeah, this thing has a gaping maw like a whale shark.
Yeah. That is just a huge, useless piece of vehicle.
Like it would drive through a school of fish and then pull them in, or it would
Like a
get
whale
its
does?
sustenance off of krill. That it would. What are those gills and stuff? The bass. What do they call it? The kind of teeth that a whale has. Where it
Barnacles?
no, it's
I know what you're
phrase,
talking.
but where it siphons in, filters in almost
All the krill.
all the krill and the little.
Yeah, because that front end with the hideaway headlights like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So that would be the one that if you wanted me to pick a 70s just land yacht.
Yeah. And I think
it's kind of groovy looking, but it's still odd and it's still its own unique thing.
Yeah, and I think this is still some Mad Men era kind of a car, maybe a little bit just after,
Yeah.
the Mad Men era.
Yeah,
Not the personal luxury type of car. Well, maybe it is a personal luxury car. It's a beautiful thing.
I mean that.
And they're still cheap, I mean, it's not everybody's all goofy for 69 Camaros and Mustangs
Chargers and shit like
it's
that.
like muscle cars. It's like this is the same drivetrains, and it's
Yeah, but people would take the 440s out of these for their Chargers and their
sure
Cudas and stuff.
So
you find this car on the side of the house that sitting there for the last 30 years with no motor and trans.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. So you could do the Hemi swap. You could do the Hellcat swap. You could do, and then
give it real life,
and then lighten the heck of out of some panels out of carbon fiber.
Yes, come on,
and let's get going.
Oh yes, if you put the 702 horsepower style V8 like the TRX has, the TRX has to weigh the same as that thing. Come on,
yeah, you can do it.
So I don't just leave it like it is. Just give it gobs and gobs of power.
Yeah, this is a personality change, I think, for both of us to do this kind of a thing.
It is.
I get it, but it's like you have to have warm weather. This is a Florida car.
Yeah.
This is a
where you just float around all the time.
Yeah, the top is down. You're going to the beach, and you have.
Oh, you're going to get a convertible even? Holy cow!
There are convertibles. I mean, most of them, but yeah, I guess it's surfboards that you can close the trunk on your surfboard, but
well, if you get the 4-door, yeah, you can have that all the way in.
That'd be cool. Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Sold.
I do think, though, that the culmination of everything, the greatest thing that you could do with a land yacht, I mean, like, in a blaze of glory, because the car's worth nothing, right?
Yeah.
Right now, you could buy the biggest car. Not
for
just
scrap value. Yeah.
Scrap value, sure. You be a millionaire, right?
Right.
I'm going to turn in this.
No, you buy it for scrap value.
Okay, buy it for scrap value.
Yeah.
I was thinking that like you turned in for scrap value. And the guy goes, "Oh my gosh, it's the biggest piece of metal I've ever seen."
It used to be like that, but not anymore.
Yeah, you go, "Oh, I have a skyscraper to turn in too," but but no, I mean but the most glorious thing that you could do is probably what Kenny Powers did.
Jet car it?
Jet car. What jet car? This Continental.
Are you going excuse me, are you going to jet car it and try and jump the St. Lawrence River, or are you just going to jet car it?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to try and jump the St. Lawrence
and
River.
Finish what Kenny Powers couldn't do. Back in...
I have so many pros and cons
yeah, so because you have to look up on YouTube, Kenny Powers jumping the St. Lawrence River from Canada to land a mile away in New York.
1976.
Yeah. Or 76, I think it might have been the Lincoln itself.
I'm pretty sure that's what year it was, wasn't it?
Or he attempted it in 79, I think.
Oh, okay.
And he did the...
It was a 76 T-Bird that he did in 79.
I did read a couple articles, and they get more confusing the more you read them.
October 13th, 1979, yeah.
Okay, so it was a 76 Lincoln Continental.
That he jumped in 79.
And they said it was some fiberglass parts, solid rocket booster engine.
from grill to out to the tailpipe, man. That was
It didn't, yeah, but like, yeah, it was intake through the grill, so it didn't have the normal engine in there.
that jet engine went from the grill to out the back. That was
and it was
long.
perfectly aerodynamic.
Not at all.
Every not a single corner cut. Everything was
My goodness, sir! If you watch
probably a
that
lot
video,
of wind tunnel testing. I imagine that he did because it had wings that were over 2 feet long, maybe.
no, they were 2-foot wings.
And it's a glorious looking car. But
I don't know. Glorious is a word to use.
yeah, and so like yeah, you turn it on, you're not going to turn that engine off. It's solid rocket.
It's solid rocket. Yeah, it's just jet propulsion.
And yeah, like your Estes model rocket kits and stuff, where you
once you ignite
light it, it's on.
you write it.
And I as another tangent, I did that for. I thought they let us do our own science projects back in elementary school, and then you bring it in, and I don't know where I was going with it, but I got a Pinewood Derby car, cut out a pickup truck, and my grandpa and I, he got his router out. And he did the Estes model rocket in the back of the pickup truck, the model of the Pinewood Derby car, and then we set it off in his driveway, and it worked. It shot across, and it, and then the little parachute thing on the other end of the Estes model kit, it would pop it out, and so it would eject its own thing, but it would just shoot down his driveway and into the snowbank, and then it was great.
That was it. You're done.
Well, yeah, but
sounds great.
We did like 4 times or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, great!" And I don't know what I didn't get I probably got a D in the for the experiment because I had no idea what I was actually doing, what hypothesis I was proving. I was just like going, "This is cool, right? That's sciencey."
I think it's science.
Yeah,
I can make something go with that.
I go, "Oh yeah, you're gonna."
I got propulsion.
Rocket propel a Pinewood Derby car without science?
Right.
Huh, teacher?
You can't do that without science. At least math.
I think there was plenty of science demonstrated
And math is
here.
science as far as I know.
Yeah, there's probably math involved.
It's scientific. Math is scientific to me.
Yeah,
anyway.
I know that I'm number 1. There's your math right there for doing the stunt car rocket car. So I had some beginning of it, but yeah.
Maybe those wings are 2 foot long. There's a picture of it on the computer here, and that yellow T-Bird 76. And those, I'm not sure if those wings are meant to be aerodynamic, though. Are those supposed to be stabilizers?
I think they're there for awesomeness because it's a bright yellow Continental. It's just, it has a sunroof open, so that he could eject out of it, I guess. Was the
it's
idea.
got plexiglass windows, so
It's not like they said that it was a fiberglass car, so a lot of it was fiberglass. So maybe it just looked like a Lincoln Continental.
The front clip was fiberglass, the rear quarters were fiberglass because they had to cut most of the car away to get the
weight down,
the jet propulsion motor in it.
And then he shot down this gigantic ramp, attempting to make the world's longest jump in history, and I think he did. But
I don't know if I think he only did 500 feet of the attempted jump.
Because I thought that he died in this attempt, because this ramp is huge. You have
it's
to look
8 stories tall.
8 stories tall ramp, and it shot down the end, and then that Lincoln Continental flying into the air. I
think he landed on the same bank that he jumped from.
And they said it. What's the top speed of a normal 76 Lincoln Continental? Probably
100,
120, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe on a good day.
And they said he was going 280 miles an hour?
He was supposed to go 260, and the car only got to 180.
And it disintegrated. It started peeling apart.
Well,
It just
apparently the bumps on the ramp made the fiberglass crack. And then once the car took off in the air...
We're watching it now live.
So the car bounces.
It's fast as heck.
Yeah, but... Anybody knows that when you throw a paper airplane into the air, the harder you throw it, the worse it flies.
And his had 2 parachutes, and they both opened up almost immediately once it left the ramp.
Because of the failed fiberglass. Because all the fiberglass broke, and it made the...
Yeah, I wonder if he pulled the chutes or what. But
I'm pretty sure they just...
It landed in the water, and he's standing up in there like with his head out the top.
Okay, but then I heard them say he broke 7 vertebrae, 3 ribs, and a wrist.
Yeah. Worth it, right?
No, dude. For a 500-foot jump?
I mean, yeah. And you can, and with some of the body peeled off of that thing, I mean, the cabin of it was probably still steel.
Yeah, that's
and maybe the front and the rear was a fiberglass, like you're saying.
Agreed.
But, yeah, it's the dumbest shape in the world to fly with. I mean, I love it.
It is bouncing down the ramp here.
Yeah, they show the slow-mo of it at the end.
And that one parachute's already starting to come out. Yeah, the parachute's already coming out before it even leaves the ramp.
As it's crackling apart.
And the wings immediately tear off the doors. All of the fiberglass parts immediately...
Once the nose gets up.
I mean, there's no...
It just rips itself to
They did nothing to stabilize the air coming underneath the car.
Yeah, that's why they got to call it a land yacht, not an air yacht. Yeah,
not air yacht.
Air and sea. I mean, yeah.
Air and sea yacht.
Oh, man, that would be amazing.
And it's not amphibious because it landed in the water and sank.
If I were to fly a Lincoln Continental, I think I would do more of a dirigible kind of a thing, you know, slow blimp balloon above me. And have it float.
Yeah. You know, like a hot air style.
Yeah, like up, you know, the house.
Yeah. I like that idea too. Although I'm afraid of heights, so I'd have to keep it certain height.
Well, it looks like this was over pretty quick, so I don't think he wasn't in the air for very long.
The 9-second jump covered 500 feet.
He didn't even make it over to the New York side, so he had to go back to Canadian healthcare.
Right. Ugh. Which all they did was patch him up and send him home because his health insurance didn't work there.
Poor guy. But valiant effort. I think that's it. One day we'll do it. It'll be great.
I'm not sure I'm gonna want.
Too late. Already in the works. Let's do it.
I don't mind being a spectator.
Huh?
I don't mind being a spectator.
If you guys have better ideas than this, you can now text us directly through at least on Apple Podcasts
you
in the
can't
description.
do it through Spotify, but you can do it on Apple.
We haven't been able to see it on there, but there's a link that you can actually text the show directly, and so use that and you give us we're looking for like story ideas, or if you want to be on the show and tell us your car story.
Tell us about you.
Maybe you have some kind of experience flying a Thunderbird or or Lincoln through the air. Then I want to hear about it. But
it was a Continental. I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah. Text the show.
It wasn't
or you could go to mechanicalsympathy.org and message us there. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.